is AppleZones keeps track of how many times price has revisited a zone for us. Okay, so it's always keeping track. It does it very, very well. You can see that we felt like this was the first time price really revisited this level, so we have a bounce count of 1. And the zone turns from this aqua color into this blue color. And as we look here at the settings, if you guys have used AppleZones before, you will see that our settings have changed quite a bit. And basically, we have come in here and we've just really changed a whole bunch, to be real honest with you. So the strength setting, right now we are keeping the strength setting in there, but I'm thinking about possibly taking that out. We really revamped the AI logic of the zones. So we hope that it's very, very robust, and we almost feel like we don't need that strength as much anymore. So, but right now we still have the strength, and what that strength setting does is it tells us how many bars are used in the calculation for each zone. With the way things are looking, like I said, we may take that out, but what that really does is it says, okay, here's a swing high or swing low, and like let's look at the average right around there and see what we feel is the zone. And so that's what really bases all the other AI calculations off of that, is that strength setting. So moving right along, this visual stuff is all NinjaTrader things. So you should see same as input for your panels and all that good stuff. Then we come down in here to the alerts. Now these alerts are different wave files that will play if a zone gets bounced into, or if a zone is actually broken. And so you can turn those alerts on to a certain time frame per se, and you know, either if it breaks or if it bounces, you can turn those on or off just by switching that, or you can change the actual wave file to whatever you want that to be. So and then we just told a little bit about where the sound file directory is, just so you have an idea. So if you want to replace it, you can easily replace those sound files. Then looking down into the bounce count colors, you can see we now have like 5 different, or excuse me, actually 6 different bounce count color settings. We have bounce counts all the way through 4. And then after 4, it just stays as a brown color is the default setting right now. And then the 6th area is the color of the dead zones. And what we consider a dead zone is when price has gone all the way through a zone, it becomes a dead zone and gets taken off of your chart. So that's what that is. Then last but not least, you have the color of the supply and demand areas, which this setting here is actually, it changes the labels on the right-hand side of your chart. They're either in red or green based on whether it is a supply area, which is up there on top, just going back to the old Adam Smith definition of supply being on top of demand. And then we also have our font size. So if we want to, we can make the font size bigger or smaller. We can also decide where the labels are. They're above the lines or below the lines, which I'll show you kind of what that looks like. And then we have a couple visualization settings where we can keep where we can lock the zones so you can't adjust them without hitting the little button up here, as well as show dead zones, which automatically shows all the old dead zones really quickly, or takes them off really quickly. So that supply or demand color, that's where the red lines or the green lines come in right there. That's what that means. In this show dead zones, you can see all the dead zones and how price has respected those areas just by clicking that button. And so we can go show or hide that. And then we can also do this hide or lock and unlock zone. So right now we have zones locked. So if you're just randomly clicking around on your chart, you're not going to be moving around these areas, these zones at all. These the zones in version 2.0 are very, very user interactive, and they've really been modified to be more of a real chart object per se than just a normal drawing or something like that. So if we decide to unlock a zone, we can actually take this thing and we can move this thing around and all kinds of stuff like that. And if you ever have a zone that's sitting right on top of another zone that's in really close proximity of the other zone, you can actually merge the zones, which we'll get to in just a couple seconds here. But if you notice here, I cannot move the zone any further down than where the next supply zone is. So we actually have been able to tap into the NinjaTrader resources and really make these drawn objects into their own little self-aware zones. Is pretty much what they are. They are now officially self-aware. So watch out. But that's kind of what we're looking at here with the zones. So you can modify them and you can lock them down. And then this is a really, really cool feature that I think is just phenomenal. As long as you don't have any zones selected, or if you have one zone selected here, you can actually say merge with previous or next. And looking at this, you'll see that when we hit merge with next zone, you notice how this zone actually gets highlighted. And then when you say merge with previous, that zone turns like a little darker area. So you can actually tell when you're going to be merging zones what that's going to be looking like. So you can hit merge with previous, and then all of a sudden the zone is recalculated. It destroys the zone that you were working with, and it creates a new zone out of the combination of those two zones that you merged together. So now we can come in here and we can actually move this new zone around a little bit and say like, oh, well, I just want it to be like right here. And there you go. Now you have a new zone that has hopefully the correct bounce count for you. And it's taken out those two previous zones and made them into one. So the zones are becoming self-aware, and they're marrying each other and having babies and all kinds of great stuff. So it's just one big happy family now. So that's a little bit about the new improvements to Appa zones and what we're doing. Another cool feature that we've recently just been able to do is several of you know that we used to just have, like if we come down here on maybe like a 15-minute chart, we'll see zones that are really, really old to our left and to our right here. See how many days. Okay, so when you load up a lot of days, normally NinjaTrader takes off all drawn objects that are older than 256 bars or 20 days. We have kind of found a workaround a little bit here with that. So now as you look and down the price, down in the price levels on this particular market, you can see we have fill colors for all those zones that used to just be two lines. You can exactly tell where each one of those are. And you can come back in here and then you can look at where that is, and you can make your trading decisions on if that is the correct zone for you or not. And it just makes it a little bit nicer, a little bit easier on the eyes. So all zones are beautiful creatures. So maybe living in a little bit of a little fantasy world here with the Appa zones, but they're all colored now, and so that's a really cool feature that just helps you hopefully visualize where your support and resistance areas are.